What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Sitting across from me this week and every week, what you take when you can no longer take what you've been taken. It's Desra.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's relevant.
And sitting across from me, of course, is Brian Paul.
And every week on Why We Love PlayStation VR, we dip into the PSVR archive. We take out a game at random, we play the crap out of it, we blow the dust off of it, and we see if it's been given any love by a developer. You know, it doesn't matter. This game came out so recently.
It did.
Almost nothing's been updated.
No. Well, actually, there has been a little bit of an update, but...
Little bits have been updated.
But anyways, we're talking, of course, about Vacation Simulator.
Vacation Simulator from Alchemy Labs.
Alchemy, yes.
Released June 18th, 2019 for the big old grand price of $29.99.
Yeah, that's a big old price.
Before we dive into Vacation Simulator, obviously we want to give a shout out to Alchemy Labs.
Yes.
Which founded by Alex Schwartz, graduate of local college, Worcester Polytech Institute.
Seriously?
Yeah.
WPI?
WPI.
What up?
Yeah, he started the company back in 2010.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, made a game about smuggling immigrants across the border.
All right.
Apple wasn't happy about that, so they changed the word smuggle to snuggle and got my approval. Also got Apple's approval too. But then their next game was Job Simulator.
Yes.
Which we tackled on Gaming Without Parole, what this show used to be called, episode 92.
We did. That was before. Was that before the big switch?
That was before the big switch. Yeah. All right, that being said, Desra, what kind of game is Vacation Simulator?
It's a vacation simulator?
It's a pick up things and throw them simulator.
It is, yeah. It's very reminiscent of Job Simulator, but basically you have these tasks / mini games / vacation things that you're asked to do, and you do those things, but there's also some reward to just grabbing stuff and messing around with it.
Yeah. I think a good way to tackle this might be to kind of say all the ways it's like Job Simulator.
Okay.
And then maybe branch off and say what's different about this than Job Simulator.
All right. So, I mean, we're going to assume then that you've played Job Simulator, I guess.
Or that you've watched episode 92.
Oh, if you watched that, yes.
Either way.
You've done your research. There's some required reading, some prerequisites before we watch this.
Indeed.
So, yeah, in Job Simulator, you basically were given your choice of 4 different areas, right? Yeah. And then you kind of went into the area, let's say the kitchen, you were the cook, and you were just given do this.
Right.
Now you did have stuff, in this space. Again, you could play around with an experiment. You could be goofy with it, but it was very linear in that sense. It was like you need to do these things in this order.
Yeah, and just to kind of expand on one of the things you mentioned, that they do give you freedom to mess around and experiment.
Sure.
I think Alchemy is one of their biggest assets as a developer is sort of thinking ahead and going, what is the player going to want to do?
Right.
And because I think a lot of times when developers see 2 move controllers in a VR headset, they go, well, that's 2 guns.
Right.
Alchemy goes, well, those 2 move controllers are definitely 2 hands.
Yeah.
And what can we do with those 2 hands?
No.
And so they're you can just tell they must be a really creative bunch behind the scenes because they're coming up with combinations. It's funny when people talk about this game, they're like, "Oh, did you put the guitar in the waffle maker?" And I was like,
right.
"What? So, okay,
why would
sure.
you do that?
Why wouldn't you?
Why?
Excellent point. But so this is sort of similar in the sense that when it opens up, you start off in a lodge,
right,
and then you're given the option of, hey, do you want to go vacation at the beach? Do you want to go vacation at the forest, or do you want to go vacation at the snowy mountain?
Right.
And so it is sort of like, oh, here are my 3 jobs.
Yeah, but where it gets different is you get into the area and you can kind of explore however you want, rather than being just, boss bot who is telling you what to do. You have a lot of different bots that are in there, and you basically you walk up to them, you get their attention by waving, and they say, oh, I need you to do blank. And the first level of the job is usually something you can do very easily and something you can do with just the stuff that is in the world you're in. Eventually, as the jobs get more complicated, like, for instance, if you're at the beach shack, there's kind of like a little grill, a little restaurant, and you might have to make a burger for a bot that's in a completely different level.
Right. So you not only have to make the food to the exact specifications, you have to go track down that bot too.
Yes.
Yeah. And I gotta say, like when I first stepped out of the lodge and saw the 3 options, I was like, wait a minute, is this a downgrade from Job Simulator? Because it's only 3 sections, right. But man, there's a lot of walking involved. which is teleportation. No turning. Did you notice this?
No turning. Yeah, that was actually Amanda was having a hard time with that too. She's like, "Where's the click turning?" I was like, "Nope, there is none."
Right, it's a little strange to get used to. It is funny because until you find yourself trying to walk someplace behind you,
Right.
you don't even notice it.
Yeah, it doesn't become an issue until it does. When it is an issue, it's just like, a little problematic.
Right, but basically you're just looking at a spot, you're seeing the teleportation node appear, and then you just hit the move button. It does work pretty well.
Yeah.
But I feel like they made Job Simulator for a specific type of person.
Right.
Like, this is my first VR game.
Exactly.
And then they sort of, when they decided to make a sequel to that game, they leaned heavily into the same type of person who is no longer that person.
I mean, I guess there'll still be people where this is their first VR experience, but they're going to be few and far between. I think you're right.
Yeah.
The other thing that is a big difference between this and Job Simulator is there is kind of an in-game currency. They set up the whole idea of memory points. By doing these things, the whole point of going on vacation is to make memories. And they take this very literally. You do something and you get an achievement and you get a memory point. Each level has kind of two tiers. There's basically, you get to the island and then you need to earn, I believe it's 5 memory points to get to unlock the dive, the underwater kind of diving thing. And with the forest, there's
hiking trail.
Hiking trails, that's right. And with the mountain, there's the mountaintop. And for each of those, you have to earn 5 memory points. So you can't just kind of walk around and screw around and do whatever you want, but to make progress in the game, you do have to successfully complete a certain number of tasks.
And I will say about the memory points, you can go back and watch my 3-hour Let's Play, and I think for the first hour I didn't get a single memory point.
Oh really?
Oh, because I was dicking around. I was like, oh, what does this do? What does this do? Ha ha ha! Just being goofy and like trying to have fun and like show off different elements of the game. And then I was like, and then when I realized, I was like, oh man, I need 5 memory points to do this thing. And I have 1. Like, this is going to take forever. But once you start paying attention to what you need and how to get them, they start rolling in very quickly.
It's pretty easy, yeah.
And it's kind of addictive. It's for me, it's almost like an XP bar. I'm like, I just want to get to the next level.
Okay.
I just want to keep doing it. I was like, how many of these things are there? I want them all.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that there's sort of a progression system, unlike Job Simulator.
Right, and then the end goal, if you want to beat the game, you need to earn 30 points. And you can unlock the end of game party.
That siren's on our end.
Yeah.
As always.
So, I mean, there is that. It doesn't take a whole lot to get to that either. So it's not like, as you said, a lot of what Alchemy does is about experimenting in the world, playing around, goofing around. So, I mean, if you're playing it, I just want to finish the game.
Oh, man.
I mean, you can probably knock it out in an hour and a half, maybe.
I mean, you can see pretty much everything. And
I wouldn't say you see everything.
I was going to go closer to like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah. Well, to actually go from I turned on the game to I've gotten to the end, which is the party, and you can pretty much just linearly. Oh, I'm going to talk to the first one I see. Do what they ask me to. Do what they ask me to. Do what they ask me to. Blah blah.
Yeah, I guess if you decide to not have any fun with the game,
exactly,
you could totally blast through it that way.
And that's a much better way and much more concise way of saying what I was saying. That is super quick, but that's kind of not the point.
Yeah. I'm going to say that I don't know what I'm going to say, to be honest with you. I'm going to say that it looks just like Job Simulator.
I disagree.
Ooh,
yes.
I like counterpoints. What's different about it?
Everything's rounder and softer.
Yeah,
but not just literally, but also metaphorically. Like the bots. If you look at the robots, they're not the sharp edges. The robots are computer monitors, basically computer monitors with showing a face on the screen. And a Job Simulator, everything was very angular and very sharp, and it's kind of all a little bit more rounded. And I think that's true with all the environments as well. You get softer edges to it.
Well, then I want to take this a step further.
Yeah.
Because just moments ago, we were talking about how Alchemy Labs was developing a game for maybe a sector of gaming that doesn't exist anymore. And I've already had my first VR experience. Do you think that they're leaning more heavily into a different audience for this game?
I think part of it is actually aiming at kids.
Yeah.
Specifically, because if you one of the other interfaces with the game is you have a backpack. And so you can take the backpack off. You can use that to carry, was it 9 items? I think 3x3. Yeah,
something like that.
either 9 or
Could
12.
be 12. It
12.
might be
It's 12 items.
yeah.
It's 12 items between game to game, but you flip the bag around, and that's all the game settings.
Right.
And there's a height adjustment, but there's also just basically a small human switch. You can switch it from adult size to kid size.
Right.
So it is. I think very explicitly saying, no, we're aiming at a younger audience with this.
Yeah. I don't know if that was their intention for job audience for Job Simulator, because Job Simulator, I know that you and I had a brief conversation about how it seemed like something bad had happened in the world, in the real world, and there was a reason why robots is taking over, and they never explicitly said what it was. There was a event,
right?
And this just seems so much happier and friendlier than that.
It is, and there's a lot of the humor in the original Job Simulator was kind of poking fun at how sort of meaningless the humans' lives were. Like here's what they did for a job. If you haven't played it, I'm not going to spoil anything. I don't know, but it really hung a hat on how meaningless, especially the Office one. I think that's the most poignant. I think the best written out of all of them, where it's just there's this edge and kind of darkness to the humor, and dryness to the humor that is a little missing in this one. This is still fun and funny, but it's a little broader, I guess.
I think, and I don't want to get too, I don't want to start pigeonholing anybody, but I think we've seen, at least here Without Parole, that when we do a top 20 list, best PlayStation VR games out there, we definitely see a lot of kids come out of the woodwork and say, "Where's Job Simulator?
Yeah,
Job Simulator is my favorite PSVR game. But Job Simulator is my first VR game. It's my favorite VR game." And I'm guessing that Alchemy saw those statistics and said, "Well, with it, we know who we're designing this for."
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because I think they still managed to make a great game with a lot to do that appeals to a wide audience. Yeah. But I think that they knew what they were doing. Yeah, no,
it's definitely a deliberate choice. I mean, they couldn't have done this accidentally. There are some things though. Here's one odd thing I noticed. We mentioned there's a lot of backtracking. Especially once you get to the higher levels of these little, they're mini games basically. And what I found was weird was moving from one world to the other. You'd think that would be burdensome, but the loading time is pretty quick.
Yeah.
But moving from like the first to the second layer of each level, it seems longer than moving from one world to the other. Was that just me?
No, I think okay. That was it. But I didn't see any of the load times to be.
Yeah.
I mean, almost noteworthy at all.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still in the old one, so
it could very well be a pro difference. You mentioned the backpack.
Yes.
And one of the things, so the backpack is great because not only is it always on your back and you can actually just take a move controller and just grab it with the trigger and pull it off, you can also just hit triangle and it pops right up. Right there. And which is amazing because really this is your inventory system.
Yeah.
And there are so many things to pick up and find. There's different currency in each world, and you can go to vending machines and buy stuff. So you always want to have like a couple, sand dollars or whatever it is, so you can buy stuff. And then there's also like retro or 8-bit video game cartridges you can just find. And in the launch, which we've still not talked about, maybe we should have started with the launch. We'll back up and we'll get there. There's like this retro gaming machine,
right?
And you shove cartridges in it, and you just build up your collection of. I mean, how Brian Paul is this? It's like while you're playing your VR game, you get to build a retro collection of cartridges.
Yes, and the games play very similar to some retro games you may have played in the real world.
And have hated, doesn't it? None of these games are terribly good.
Yeah, no, but it's again, it's not because they didn't know how to do it right. It's because they are replicating these actual games, and so it is a deliberate design choice.
Yeah. So some of them are just like a side-scrolling 8-bit Mario game, and you're holding, with your move controllers, you're trying to manipulate this joystick in 3D space, and it doesn't go very well because your character has so much momentum that you're always over jumping, and you have to push up to jump. There's no jump button. All these different things. There are text adventures to go on. A bunch of games to collect, to find, to play. You play them all for a minute or two and put them down, but they're just fun to collect, I think, more than even play.
Yeah, and I'd say, too, like a lot of these mini games are really great. They're the Sandcastle one and the Ice Sculpture one. Those are both, as soon as I started playing those, like I I want this on my phone. I want this as a standalone like puzzle game for my phone. And those were, I mean, honestly, if I were to fire up Vacation Simulator again for myself to play, it would be to play those.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you make it far?
I made it pretty far in the Sandcastle one. I didn't totally beat it. So
yeah. So I did start a new game when I did it today because I had already spent like 4 or 5 hours with my last game, and so I couldn't do the first Sandcastle. I got to, and I had done it. I had done like 10 of them or something.
Yeah.
The first time I played, I don't know what happened during my gameplay, but I was like, it was telling me the right side was wrong, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I got this right. So who knows what's going on with this? There have been a few patches. We kind of mentioned that there's some bugs, some glitchy things that have been fixed.
Yeah, there were some basically, and in this kind of game, like it's hard to predict exactly, like, because every item pretty much has the opportunity to interact with other items. And I guess there was one glitch that would happen where, like, if someone puts sunglasses or a certain pair of sunglasses in a waffle maker, it would actually crash the system. And if you caught Amanda's stream last week, she tried playing and it crashed on her twice during the stream.
Yeah.
And we still don't know why. Like, I played it on our system today for like 3 hours straight, no problems. So
yeah, like I said, I put in probably about 6 hours on mine.
Yeah,
no problems.
Yeah.
So, but, it is a thing. It definitely happened twice to Amanda, so it could definitely happen to you as well. As far as the backpack's concerned, there's another thing in the backpack that I love so much.
Yes,
and it's the camera.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Camera just kind of saddles on the side of the backpack, and you grab it, and you can just take a picture at any point you want. You can even just set it in the air. Make sure the scene is set up. You can be in the picture.
Yep.
And then you snap the button, and it comes out Polaroid style. Don't wave it. That's not what you're supposed to do. Des taught us that a while ago. And that's not it. Mm-hmm. These pictures that you're taking of yourself, of the environment, of other characters, whatever, there are so many different ways to use these photographs.
Yes.
Like there's the Bob Ross section where you go paint.
Bot Ross.
Exactly. And you can, was it Bot Moss, I think?
No,
even?
I thought it was Bot Ross.
Is it Bot Ross? And so you can just go and paint. You can paint you get a whole canvas and you just paint whatever you want on it. Mm-hmm. Or you can just do this thing where it just copies the picture over to your painting. Or you can, in the ice level, the snow level, whatever, the ice mountain, you can turn it into a jigsaw puzzle. Mm-hmm. And I love that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. It's like something, I created this item in a virtual game to create a different virtual item, and now I'm playing a virtual game with that item that came from, it's like the Matrix, man. It's so many levels deep. It's Inception.
The best thing I liked about the camera is, we've seen cameras as a, interaction point in many, many games.
Sure.
I don't know if I've seen too many where you had different lenses.
No.
And there was a telephoto lens, there was a fisheye lens, there was a sepia tone lens, there was a Instagram sparkle filter lens.
This is yet another indicator that maybe this is for like the Snapchat generation, right? Yeah, because something kids love, man, putting filters on everything.
I found the telephoto actually that was really useful. There was in the dive section, you're given the job to take pictures this many fish. Well, with the telephoto, I didn't have to wait. I could just there it is over there. Pop on the telephoto lens, take a picture.
Nice.
Didn't actually have to do all the traveling. So there's some strategy there.
Not just for kids anymore. Right? And then one of my other favorite things that I found in this game was a slingshot.
The slingshot, yeah.
Yeah. So you just go up and you pick up a slingshot off the counter of. I want to say this is also the mountain, right?
Yeah, it was in the forest. Actually, it was the ranger in the forest.
Okay.
Yep.
And then
the very hungover ranger.
And then suddenly, out of nowhere, bullseyes start appearing everywhere.
Yep.
Targets, and so you're taking this thing that you found in one place, and you're finding all the targets in that place, but then you're also taking it to the other levels, the beach and the mountain, and there's hidden targets there too. Mm-hmm. And so suddenly this thing I was disappointed by, the fact that there were only 3 different locations, is now something I'm excited by because of how they all sort of interact with each other.
Yeah.
There's another segment where there's a bot playing in a pool or playing in the ocean, and he wants to play sports with you.
Yeah.
And there's a big, colorful beach ball, and it's right there. So that's the first thing you toss at him, and then you kind of bounce it back and forth, and you try to keep it going as long as possible. But then he says, bring other balls by. And there's a basketball back at the lodge. Which we still haven't talked about. There's a soccer ball floating in the water. So you get to play all these different sports, like these sports mini games, just by finding balls in different locations and bringing them back. And that interaction does something to me that like Job Simulator just didn't.
All right. Yeah, I mean there's a lot more variety in the tasks, and like we said, it's not as linear as Job Simulator,
right?
Certainly, and there is a lot more room for discovery. Like the moment you realize, oh, if I bring another ball, I have an entirely different mini game.
Right.
Now suddenly, like, oh, how can I find them? What kind of balls are out here? Where can I find them? I found a volleyball in the fishing level. When you're doing the fishing thing, sitting there catching fish, all of a sudden the volleyball just comes down the river. I was like, oh,
I'm gonna put that in my backpack and use it later. Nice.
Yeah.
So, and then finally, we should talk about the Large Reef.
Yes.
You start off, and before you even get outside, they say, hey, go head on over to the bathroom and create your avatar.
Yes.
All different skin tones, all different hairstyles, all different glasses.
It felt very Rec Room.
It felt very Rec Room. Yeah, but there's a level of polish here that is far beyond Rec Room.
Yes. Yeah. I should backtrack that. It is Rec Room, but done with the level of care and quality that we expect from Alchemy.
Right. Nothing wrong with Rec Room, by the way. Amazing for a free game.
Yeah.
Go watch that episode too. It's probably 100 episodes ago.
But it is just kind of you dial in to get your skin tone and your hair tone and all that, and there's different sliders. So, but even in just the bathroom, it's like, okay, well, there's their excuse to have the character creation, but there's a bathtub over there. You can sit and kill 10 minutes just drinking shampoo and things like that.
Yeah, changing the watercolor and playing with rubber duckies, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and then there's like a little office area in the lodge, and it reminds me, very much of the office area in Job Simulator, where you get to click on the mouse and you can read emails and respond to emails by using the binary 0 and 1, just slamming the buttons and and putting words up on the screen just by hitting different buttons. Creating sentences out of nothing. There's definitely a level of humor here, and just the level of interactivity is kind of mind blowing. Yeah, it doesn't seem like very much on the surface, and then the more you sort of dive into it, like everything has a function or a purpose, and usually there's an extra layer of function or purpose that you wouldn't think that it has.
Yeah,
I think we talked round and round about Vacation Simulator long enough. Do you think it's time to rate this thing?
I think it is.
All right, well, what's our rating scale, Des?
Our rating scale is pretty easy to understand. 1 is, yes, you have to buy this game. If you have a PSVR, it absolutely has to be in your library. Just buy it. 2 is, yeah, sure, why not? If it's on a sale at a decent price, or if it's a genre you particularly like, go ahead and pick it up. 3 is, no. Friends don't let friends buy crap. We need to vote with our wallets and tell these developers that we deserve better. So 1, 2, or 3. What do you think?
So episode 92 was a long time ago.
It was.
Well over 2 years ago.
Yes.
We've been doing this a long time.
We have.
I appreciate this time we spent together.
Aww.
I don't know what I rated Job Simulator, but I'd like to retroactively go back and change my rating. This is why we don't give numbers.
Yeah.
Right? This is why we don't rate games with numbers. Because like 3 months later, you're gonna be like, I don't agree with that 9 I gave Torn anymore.
Yeah.
I gave Torn like a 4. So again, I'm scoring games just on I would give Job Simulator a 2 now.
Really? Okay.
I would. And the price has come down to $20.
Yes.
So here we are at launch price $30. And I want to give Job Simulator a 1 because it gave me this level of excitement that I wasn't expecting.
Wait, Job Simulator or Vacation Simulator?
What did I say?
He said job, but
God, please, can we edit that out? Don't worry,
yes,
I'll
can.
edit that out. No, I'm not. I want to give Vacation Simulator a 1 because, like I was saying, it gives me a level of excitement that I just didn't get from Job Simulator. The collecting the memories.
Yeah.
Got me really like as soon as I got one I was like, oh well, that wasn't so hard, let me go get another one. How do I get another one? Oh, okay, if I just do this real quick then do another one. And then making food for people, I was like, the first one is so easy that you're like, oh, that wasn't hard, let me go do another one. And you're just like, oh, let me do another one and another one, and then you do the sandcastle, and except for today's experience the first one wasn't difficult, so let me do another one and another one. And so it's all these little things that should be mini games that I'm spending way too much time doing because it's so much fun to do. And when I ran out of targets to shoot with the slingshot, I wanted more targets.
Yeah.
Right. So this game just makes you want to do everything you're doing, but more. And you can easily spend, 6 or 7 hours like finding every little thing around. And I mean, do I wish it was a little cheaper? Maybe. Do I wish it maybe had more of an edge to it? Maybe. But what's here? I can't imagine anyone not enjoying this. And I got to give it a 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel a little differently. For me, like, reading when we were doing the research for Job Simulator, and even since then, seeing some of the background videos and things like that, talking with the developers, talking about like, oh, we realized like how immersive it was to have people in there, and we realized we could use this as a whole platform because for social media and for like podcasting and things like that, because they literally were saying like, there's just such a sense of presence, even just seeing the head and hands. And so thinking about those discussions I heard back then, and then at PAX East this year, for those of you who saw, like in the Oculus stand, there was this huge thing. Like Vacation Simulator was the big thing. They were like really pushing. Like, I cannot wait to see how radically and how interestingly Alchemy can take this now that they have this huge budget, and we know this
Don't worry, I'll edit that out.
And we know they had this creativity. I was really hoping for something that was just revolutionary.
Yeah.
And what I got was something that the humor and the story, I guess, felt a little nerfed, and the mini games were just mini games. They were not a simulator.
No.
And that's I think part of it, like it just kind of came to me now. I think that might have been part of my dissatisfaction. Job Simulator, they weren't actually doing the job properly, but it was you got the sense this is the filtered through of what these robots thought humans did.
Yeah. From
the evidence they had. Like, they saw a sitcom once about an office. They're like, oh, this is what it's like to work in an office. And so it was this weird, like, alien attempt, like, well, this is what humans did. And the jobs in Vacation Simulator, the vacation tasks, the sandcastle thing, that is not the equivalent of building a sandcastle. Okay. The skiing is not, it's not skiing simulation. And as fun as these were, I guess that might be one of the things that kind of set me off. I really wanted this revolutionary, like, what can you do next? And what I got instead was, I think we nailed it. It's aimed at a younger audience. There's rounder edges on everything. And I would say, if you've played Job Simulator and it's in your library, I'm going to say this is a 2. It's fine. I think it might be, especially if you already own Job Simulator, paying $30 for this is going to be a little redundant, I think. If you don't own Job Simulator, yeah, go ahead and pick this up. You're going to be fine. But I think it's going to be a 2 for me. It's really well made. It's certainly not like, I don't want you to think that I think this is bad at all.
No.
It is not bad. But it's not what I was hoping for, I guess. So I'm going to say it's a 2. I still really like the original Job Simulator. Honestly, I would be more likely to put that in again than this, just for my taste. But by all means, if you're interested at all, you should pick this up. It's really good, but I'm going to still stick with it too for it.
Right on. Yeah, I think we have fairly similar outlooks on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe if I had enjoyed Job Simulator more, I would like this less.
Yeah, Job Simulator is like right down the barrel of like my sense of humor, and this is not. It's off. I understand why it's off. I understand the audience that it's aiming at, but that audience isn't me anymore. So
totally heard.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want to hear what everybody watching thinks about Job Simulator and Vacation Simulator. See, I saved myself on that one right there. Did you play Job Simulator? Did you think Vacation Simulator was better, or maybe didn't quite live up to your expectations of what you thought it might be? Who knows? We want to know what you'd rate both of those games. Let's just do that at this point. Also, what are the games you want us to play? The list is long. It gets longer because more games keep coming out. God damn them. Also, Dave Station, it's called Egg Pie. For another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR, I'm Brian Paul.
I'm a very confused Des.
That's okay. I'll tell you later.
All right.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.